So these are potentially new doctors and chiropractors and what have you. They are coming up to the Grand Band Community Health Center. And I will be going in to do a presentation on highlighting what Lambton Shores has to offer in terms of choosing us for them to come and make a home.
A question through you,
Yes.
Mr. Baird. Actually, do you still need a doctor down in that?
Well, I was going to get to that.
Yeah.
Perfect, because it ties in with the recruitment.
Yeah.
Where
You know?
sorry, Shamir, where are these, here's a creative initiative, I guess. Where's this coming from?
It's coming out of the Grand Band Community Health
So
Center.
they're the ones that orchestrated this?
Yeah, I just need a connection. It's really early stages. I don't even have a set date yet when they're coming up. But I will be going in to talk about why it's a good place to live, why you'd want to locate here versus being in, I don't know, downtown London, downtown.
So this isn't a
Toronto.
headhunter group that's organized this at all?
I'm sorry?
This isn't like a headhunter or a recruitment
No,
group that's doing it?
Well, you know what? I don't know the answer to that question. I'm dealing with Heather Clock
Okay.
at the center there, at the health center.
All right, thanks.
Okay?
It's a Ministry of Health initiative.
Oh, is it?
Yes, that has been going on for a while. And our health center has twigged onto it, but this is something that the Ministry of Health has been looking at for the last year or two. People getting out of, getting their licenses and then wanting to practice in the GTA for the
Right.
Chinque, right?
Right.
Because especially as a surgeon, if you look in the rural areas, Strathroy, for example, they're put on a quota. They're not in the GTA because there's such a demand for it. So this is, the Ministry of Health is trying to give incentives to say, look at rural life, look how great it can be, look how attractive it can be, and this is, we're latching onto it. So
Well, one of the anomalies, there are more doctors per capita with the Grand Bend postal code than any other postal code in Ontario. Now, they're not all practicing. And if you've ever looked at Dr. Sales, a urologist, sign his name, his hand shakes like this because he's 85. You might not want him to help you out, but there are a lot more doctors in Grand Bend because it's a choice destination.
they're not necessarily practicing, they could be retired.
Well,
Dr. Sales definitely is retired because he does vasectomies and you wouldn't want that hand.
Doug, he's still got office hours. It's terrifying.
Okay, well, these
Okay,
people
we're
we're
not going to
talking
win
about
that.
are.
We're not going to win the malpractice suits here. Terrifying.
Exactly.
This is being recorded.
One of my best friend's son is the doctor in charge of the emergency centers in London. And he's well aware of Arcona because when he came down at Christmas, we had a long discussion on Arcona, and I had told him who to get a hold of down there. So he has been putting the word out that there are places to go here. And he has had a cottage here in Inverwash for years. So the word is out there that we need doctors.
If you could make sure that information gets to Doug for Arcona,
Yeah.
whether they can be part of letting people know what's going on. I'm sure
Okay,
there's
we'll connect
selection.
them.
If I could just,
Captain Murdoch?
yeah, I think I'm going to come back to you again on this topic because I had been talking with Kathy Brissett at the Forest Health Clinic there, and she said that what we need as a municipality is some kind of a brochure or something that summarizes all the features in a more succinct way, maybe than the entire, visitor's guide is one thing, but it has to be targeted at the medical services or people like that because she thinks people are missing out because we're not customizing it to that target audience. So I'll come back to you to talk about that through the Economic Development Initiative.
The health CHCs, that would be part of their mandate, would it not be, to notify everyone of what's going on more than health services, not really
feeder
are.
hospitals for each
No,
community.
but they want some kind of attractive measure that promotes municipalities, so
That's right.
it's their job that they want to work with us.
How to attract people to Lambton Shores.
Okay. Carry on.
Okay, and just one last highlight, the 2012, the Queen's Park advocacy trip. We were invited to represent Lambton Shores on a 3-day trip going to Queen's Park to highlight the things that Lambton County has and some of the challenges that Lambton County has had. So, there was a jail closure, and then there was, the issues with OLG and job losses and those kinds of things, and yet it was trying to balance with, hey, we're a lot more than just oil, by the way. These are antiquated images, this is Lambton County now, here's the variety of things that are here, and people can visit and people can live here. So we were asked to represent this area as part of that advocacy trip, and I lost my voice. I did such a sales pitch that day. And then, of course, we're looking forward to 2013. What are we going to do? We're going to do all the same activities. We're going to do all the same marketing and printing and visit guide and what have you. Our tagline as we're moving forward is "It starts at the beach." I think this tagline is more inclusive of all of Lambton Shores. That's certainly what we're aiming for. Appreciatively, you know, some of the tourism services that the Chamber has done in its 38 years predates amalgamation. I believe that we are moving along a continuum where the publications will, this publication, I think this year we're there. I would like to add more content. If I do, we need to get to a thicker book. That's all in the works. It starts at the beach. We've also registered the .ca and .com for that, because in our thinking that we could have it starts at the beach website, and we could have that linked with Shop Forest and then the Grand Band Tourism and any other website that is promoting this area. The visitor guide, as you can see, is titled "It Starts at the Beach" as well. Beach picture. We have integrated, we visited with Forest BIA, and obviously we have a lot of common ground. They are a business group at our heart, obviously, so are we. So we see great potential moving forward that we could have some shared retail events. But on the tourism side, we very much wanted to begin making this book more representational. So we have all of the Forest BIA members here. They're all mapped. And as well, the GeoStreet mapping project, which we're going to be working with Forest BIA. I have to send a spreadsheet down to them. I'm working with Glenn, their president, and Lynn, their support. The GeoStreet mapping will be a subscription or a module, let's say, that will be a plug-in to the Shop Forest website and to Grand Band Tourism, where all of our businesses will be listed and mapped. It's mobile ready, so a visitor coming into the area will be able to take out the smartphone, and as I want to find a restaurant near where I am right now, there it is. They'll be able to tag into it, and it's independent of where they happen to be at that time. They could be on 21 sitting at Port Franks, and the thing that they're looking for could be in Forest, could be in Bedford, could be in Grand Bend, the GeoStreet will be available to them.
So is that similar to Point? Because you get the apps on your smartphone with Point, and it'll show you businesses. It's got Aunt Bessie's and all of those in Grand Bend. If you point for businesses near Grand Bend, is this
not being the owner of a smartphone? That sounds very
the
expensive.
geo thing is the same deal. But again, are we reinventing something when someone already has Point out there?
I would say no, because we get to accurately map our businesses and our attractions and amenities.
That's the same with TripAdvisor. They will accurately map it if you get them the proper information, and it's up to the business to make sure that they have the proper information. So.
Or Google Maps does it on the basis of your addresses, right? They connect it together.
Yeah, but they don't map correctly. This is a mapping, but it also will map our events. So there'll be an event overlay. There'll be parks and trails and hiking and parks.
I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just wondering how close it is to something that's already out there. Can we build on that by encouraging something that's already usable?
I think the short form understanding of it is that there's significant value added.
Okay, because you can have a direct link to the direct area of the
more
score.
control.
Okay. Okay. Councillor Scott, you had your...
Yes, when we were doing our economic development task force, put together a list of all the businesses and stuff, and we handed it out to all of the people that were on the committee. I noticed that in the directory that they're like Forest, for example, has I think 63 or something in there. And I know that we found a lot more businesses than that. So that's just the BIA list.